As I've said before, I really am blessed by having this Bible. It's called the Life Recovery Bible. And I decided I wanted to start sharing with a lot of people that maybe don't have this Bible or don't have time to sit and read it, but perhaps can listen to it or go along online as I'm going here with it. And I'm just going to read what the Bible is. The Bible is the greatest book on recovery ever written. In its pages, we see God set out a plan for the recovery of His broken people and creation. We meet numerous individuals whose hurting lives are restored through the wisdom and power of God. We meet the God who is waiting with arms outstretched for all of us to turn back to Him, seek His will, and recover the wonderful life He has for each of us. Many of us are just waking up to the fact that recovery is an essential part of life for everyone. It is the simple but challenging process of daily seeking God's will for our life instead of demanding to go our own way. Recovery is letting God do for us what we cannot do for ourselves, while also taking the steps necessary to draw closer to our Creator and Redeemer. It is allowing God to heal our wounded soul so we can help others in the process of healing. All of us need to take part in this process. It is an inherent part of being human. Let us sit together on the journey toward healing and newfound strength. Not strength found within ourselves, but strength found through trusting God and allowing Him to direct our decisions and plans. This journey will take us through the 12 steps and other materials designed to help us focus on the provisions our powerful God offers for recovery. The Life Recovery Bible will enrich our experience and expand our understanding of the God who loves us and sent His Son to die that we might be made whole. Without God, there is no recovery, only disappointing substitutions and repeated failure. We pray that the resources within these pages will help us all better understand who God is and how He wants to heal our brokenness and set us on the path toward wholeness. Let's begin. It is not all your fault. When we struggle with any problem, it's easy to think it's our fault, but it's never solely our fault. Things in our families often happen to us because of patterns of behavior in other family members that are beyond our control. Like in a family, life in a family can get chaotic, even overwhelming. Or sometimes the other people in our families may be so absent from any relationships that we feel we are either unwelcome or invisible to them. We may think there is something wrong with us, or that we have no willpower, or that we don't even want to stop our behaviors. It may be that what started as a way for us to cope with pain has now become the problem. Sometimes the hurt and pain inside of us become so deep that we feel we need to do something to ease those feelings. Sometimes we try to ease the pain through self-medication. We begin to drink beer, wine, or some hard liquor. At first, we get this mellow feeling that helps us forget what is causing our pain. But eventually it wears off and we feel the pain again. Or we may try to numb out pain by turning to other behavior that eventually becomes destructive. There, Here's what we need to know. There are two types of addictions. There are two types of addictions one can develop. One type is called a chemical addiction. A person takes into his or her body either alcohol or some other drug in order to simply feel different. Not everyone can develop a chemical addiction to alcohol, but other drugs, which can be highly addictive, have the potential to capture everyone who uses them. If you begin to use alcohol to ease your pain, here are some danger signs, signs that indicate you may be susceptible to becoming addicted to alcohol. People who develop serious alcohol issues are often able to drink a lot without it having much of an effect on them. They seem to be able to handle their drinking. Another danger sign is what is called binge drinking. A lot of alcohol is consumed in, say, a weekend or an evening, but then that person doesn't drink again for several weeks. They point to this to prove to themselves they don't have a dependency problem with alcohol, but they do. Another danger, another danger sign is that other people in our family are alcoholics. This means there is a much higher probability of us becoming addicted to alcohol. Watch for these signs. They spell trouble. Becoming addicted to a drug can start innocently. You may use drugs in order to fit in with friends, not knowing how powerfully addictive they are. Sometimes people get a legitimate prescription for pain medication from a doctor. It helps for a while, but then its effect wears off and soon more and more is needed. Some people may end up actually getting prescription medications on the street as well as through a doctor. Others try to self medicate by using illegal drugs. It begins as a way to escape the pain, but the need for more can easily become a compulsion and then an addiction. The user feels trapped and gradually gets loaded down with shame and guilt. The other type of addiction is called process addiction. Here, one uses less obvious methods to try to handle their emotional pain. These are compulsive behaviors that are related to a process, not to particular substances like drugs or alcohol. These behaviors start out in small ways and are seemingly innocent. Some people may think they are in control of these behaviors, but when they try to stop them, they realize the repetitive behavior controls them. Gambling or spending money may be a way to try to deal with our problems. We may find that we are always short of money and are drawn to the excitement of gambling with its random rewards. Even video games may become our escape from a painful reality. Check it out. Decide to not play any video games, do any online gambling, or spend any money for 30 days and see how uncomfortable it is. Each of these activities can become a process addiction. Process addictions involving eating can be a big issue. Eating is one of the few things we think we can always control. But there are three ways eating can be a problem. One is to overeat. People who struggle with overeating look at food as a source of comfort. When they are in emotional pain, they turn to food in order to feel good again. Another eating problem is binge eating and then having to purge what is overeaten. And then there is the very serious eating disorder of those who over control their eating habits and chronically lose weight, yet still think they are fat. This can lead to serious, life threatening physical problems. Using the internet can become a problem that leads to devastating addictions. It may be that we are always searching the web, which keeps us living in an unreal world, or our search may involve pornography. Most think that viewing pornography is something limited to men, but it can be just as big of a problem for women. Research says that the age group most commonly looking at pornography on the internet is young people, as young as 11 years old. When you start to view pornography early, it changes your brain, which in turn has devastating effects on all your relationships. You may know of someone who tries to get rid of their emotional pain by inflicting physical pain on themselves. They usually do this by cutting themselves. The reasons for this are complex, but basically it is a way to feel something different, physical instead of emotional pain, and it is a way for them to feel alive. If they bleed a little, they know they are still here, that they are not invisible. This can become a very serious addiction. These are some of the ways we may attempt to handle life's problems. We can get caught up in one of these chemical or process addictions and then get angry with ourselves because we can't stop. It's not all our fault, but the answer is always to take responsibility for the choices we make. What do you do in response to these problems determines the course of your life. What you do in response to these problems determines the course of your life, whether you know it or not. You are in control of your choices right now. If you don't know your way around this book, start with step 1 on page 25. It's time now to make the bold move to reclaim your life. We shall now stop this and proceed to step 1 on page 25 in the next video.